Picture this. You're standing in the middle of a chaotic grocery aisle. Carts are bumping past you, and you're just staring at this massive display of produce. You reach for an apple, and suddenly, boom, you're hit with a wave of decision fatigue. On one side, you've got the organic apples. They promise cleaner, healthier eating, but they come with what often feels like an organic tax, sometimes costing literally twice as much. Then on the other side, you've got your conventional apples. They look totally identical, they're everywhere, and they're way more affordable. It's a momentary paralysis we face every single time we shop. So, should we actually spend the extra money? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're cutting through the noise and breaking down the actual facts behind organic and conventional foods, so you can finally make informed, confident decisions about what really needs to go on your plate.
Is organic food actually healthier? I mean, it's the exact question on everyone's mind, isn't it? As we all get a bit more health conscious, this debate completely dominates our shopping trips and, let's be honest, our budgets. Is that organic sticker genuinely a shortcut to better health, or is it just some really brilliant marketing? And are conventional foods totally safe to feed your family every single day? Well, today we are stepping right away from the marketing hype and the grocery store anxiety. We're going to look at the hard data to impartially break down exactly what these labels mean, how they differ, and what actually matters for your body.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, defining the labels. Second, how they actually differ. Third, nutrition and health. Fourth, environmental impact. And finally, making the best choice. So part 1, defining the labels. Let's look at what these terms actually mean. First up, organic farming. Look, organic isn't just some trendy buzzword. It refers to products coming from farms that follow highly specific, heavily regulated agricultural standards. Organic farmers focus intensely on natural growing methods. Basically, this means they intentionally avoid most synthetic pesticides, artificial fertilizers, GMOs, and growth hormones. Instead of relying on synthetic inputs, they lean hard into biological techniques. We're talking about things like literally using ladybugs to naturally hunt down aphids, instead of just spraying a chemical pest control. It means practicing complex crop rotation to keep the dirt rich and using compost to fertilize. And for animals, organic livestock are raised under really strict standards that require access to the outdoors and a strictly organic diet. The whole overarching goal here is to promote environmental sustainability by mimicking and working directly with natural ecosystems.
Then, on the flip side, we have conventional farming. Conventional food is produced using modern agricultural techniques that are designed specifically to maximize efficiency, consistency, and overall food production. To hit these incredibly high yields, farmers use synthetic fertilizers to deliver really precise nutrients, approved synthetic pesticides to wipe out crop-destroying bugs, advanced irrigation systems, and modern biotechnology. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter? Well, because this massive, large-scale efficiency is exactly what prevents food shortages. It keeps grocery store shelves reliably stocked all year round, and it drives prices way down, making fresh food affordable and accessible for literally millions of people across the globe. And I know some consumers really worry about the use of chemicals, but it is absolutely crucial to note that food produced through conventional methods must meet incredibly strict safety standards and constant monitoring by major food safety authorities.
Moving right along to part 2, how they differ. Let's compare their production methods.
We put these methods head to head. It becomes pretty clear that the differences lie almost entirely in how the food is produced, not necessarily in the final product you end up eating. Let's take pesticides first. Organic farming limits synthetics and relies on natural alternatives. Conventional farming does use synthetic pesticides, but here's a really surprising fact. Those synthetics are strictly regulated. They're often tested down to parts per billion. To put that into perspective, that is the equivalent of finding a single drop of water in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. All of that is to ensure consumer safety. Next up is genetics. Organic certification strictly prohibits genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. Conventional farming, however, might utilize crops that are genetically engineered to survive devastating viruses or resist extreme droughts. This is huge because it helps secure a reliable crop yield in changing climates. Finally, cost. Organic products generally hit your wallet a lot harder, simply because these natural methods require significantly more physical, manual labor. Think about weeding vast fields by hand instead of just using an automated sprayer. That means higher overhead and lower overall production volumes. Conventional foods, on the other hand, are budget-friendly precisely because of their mechanized large-scale efficiency.
So, does one prioritize the soil while the other prioritizes the yield? Well, yeah, kind of. But both of these philosophies have a distinct, absolutely vital purpose in our global food supply. Organic farming is philosophically focused on working in tandem with natural ecological systems. It's all about encouraging biodiversity and long-term natural soil health. Conventional farming's philosophy, meanwhile, is rooted in maximizing efficiency, productivity, and large-scale food production.
Why? To reliably feed a rapidly growing global population. They're basically aiming to solve different, equally complex challenges in modern agriculture.
All right, part 3, nutrition and health. The big question, which one is actually healthier? Does an organic label mean significantly more nutrients? Honestly, this is perhaps the single biggest misconception in the grocery store today. Thanks to the halo effect of some really clever marketing, people often assume organic food is just dramatically healthier. We imagine it's packed with like double the vitamins. But when we look at the actual scientific studies, the data tells a much more grounded story. Research suggests that the overall nutritional differences between organic and conventional foods are generally very, very small. Sure, an organic tomato might contain slightly higher levels of certain antioxidants, but realistically, a 2% bump in a specific micronutrient does not mathematically change your overall daily health outcomes. Both organic and conventional fruits, vegetables, grains, and proteins successfully provide all the valuable vitamins, minerals, and fiber you need for a robust, healthy diet.
A conventional apple is still a healthy apple. Listen, if you ever feel a pang of consumer guilt because you didn't buy the expensive organic berries or that fancy organic spinach for your family, I want you to let that guilt go right now. You are still making a fantastic, highly nutritious choice for your body by eating the conventional version. Period.
So the absolutely crucial point here is this. Both categories provide the essential building blocks for a balanced diet. The most important factor for your health isn't the farming method used to grow your food. The most important factor is actually consuming a wide variety of nutrient-rich foods on a regular basis. Think about it this way. Your digestive system doesn't ask for the farming resume of the broccoli before it absorbs the vitamins, right? Whether that floret was grown with natural compost or an approved synthetic fertilizer, your body is just going to extract the valuable fiber, iron, and vitamin C it desperately needs to keep you energized.
Which brings us to part 4, environmental impact. Let's look at the ecological factors. Both systems actually have distinct, highly valuable environmental strengths. Organic farming frequently receives some very well-deserved praise for supporting local biodiversity, improving long-term soil health, and reducing our overall reliance on synthetic chemicals in the watershed. Meanwhile, conventional agriculture isn't just standing still, it's continually adopting incredibly innovative technologies. We're talking about things like GPS-guided tractors and precision drip irrigation, which are designed to improve resource efficiency, conserve precious water, and minimize its environmental footprint, all while maximizing output. Ultimately, the healthiest, most robust food system for our planet likely combines the regenerative practices of organic with the incredible technological innovations of conventional farming. And hey, if you are really passionate about the environment, remember that you don't just have to rely on an organic sticker to make a meaningful difference. You can actively support a more sustainable food system right through your daily household habits. For instance, you can focus heavily on reducing your food waste. It's a really surprising fact, but reducing the amount of rotting food we send to methane-producing landfills often results in a larger immediate carbon footprint reduction than switching your entire diet to organic produce. You can also buy local produce to dramatically cut down on transportation emissions. And you can choose seasonal foods whenever possible. These are powerful, everyday actions that don't depend on a label, but they heavily impact agricultural sustainability.
And finally, part 5, making the best choice. So what should you actually do? The truth is, there is no single universal answer that perfectly applies to everyone. If your personal budget comfortably allows for it, and you deeply prioritize reduced pesticide exposure or very specific sustainability practices, then organic foods can be a fantastic option. However, please do not stretch your budget unnecessarily to the breaking point out of fear. If organic just doesn't fit your finances, do not stress for a single second. Conventional fruits, vegetables, grains, and proteins remain highly nutritious, incredibly safe, and widely accessible choices that fully support a healthy, thriving lifestyle.
Now, what's really interesting about the list of habits we should be focusing on is the exact words missing from it: organic and conventional. Instead of focusing exclusively on those two labels, these are the habits you should actually prioritize. Eat more fruits and vegetables, regardless of exactly how they were grown. Choose minimally processed whole foods over highly processed packaged snacks. Actually read your ingredient labels carefully. Try to cook at home more often, and just strive to maintain a generally balanced diet. Honestly, these 5 fundamental habits are going to have a vastly greater impact on your long-term physical well-being than agonizing over which farming method produced your carrots.
To summarize our explainer today, I want you to remember this core rule. When it comes to nutrition, consistency matters way more than labels.
The absolute best choice is the one that helps you consistently eat healthier, stay comfortably within your budget, and feel confident about your food decisions. Healthy eating isn't about attaining absolute perfection or buying the most expensive items on the shelf. It's about making better, whole food choices regularly, just one meal at a time.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to reflect on the next time you're standing in that chaotic grocery aisle. Are you prioritizing food labels, or are you prioritizing the overall quality of your daily eating habits? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will see you next time.